Everyone's raving about how Weapons is the best horror film of the year, but is it really? Let's talk about it.
In an overcrowded graveyard, the scream will rise. Ghoulmates Entertainment presents Not Another Spooky Podcast.
Welcome back to Not Another Spooky Podcast, where we watch horror movies and talk about all the spooky things they make us think about. Think of it as spooky in the front,
horror in the back.
I'm Mandy Spooks.
And I'm Rabbit Loves Horror. We're just two lifelong besties keeping the spook alive together, one bloody popcorn bucket at a time.
Today we're grave digging into teachers that are witches, and then we'll review Weapons in the second half of the episode. To set the vibe for this episode, we're going to start off with some
Tombstone Trivia.
Okay, do you want to go first or should I?
I could go first.
Okay.
Okay, so
Hit me,
to
Rabbit.
keep on the so to keep on the theme with witches, I had to go to the witch classic, which is Hocus Pocus. So I don't know if you know this answer, but I didn't. So I just learned something new today. So here's a question. What was Disney's Hocus Pocus originally titled?
Oh my gosh, I know this one, but I'm not going to remember it. Oh my god, it has something to do with candy corn, doesn't it?
No.
No, I'm not going to remember. But I have a fun fact after to redeem myself.
Okay. The answer is Halloween House.
I should have known that. I should have freaking known that. So the reason I was thinking of corn candy is because I do know that when they pitched the movie, they actually sent out candy corn so that they could set the vibe and they could get the sense of Halloween and stuff. So I always thought that was really cool.
Oh, that is really cute because you cannot not associate the smell of candy corn with Halloween. Like once you have that smell of candy corn, it's just immediately takes you to the Halloween season. So that's really cool.
Yeah, so I redeemed myself, I think. Okay, I had a question, but I changed it as soon as you said to keep up with the theme. So I have a new question. I don't think you're going to get it. I'll be impressed if you do. Can you name the 4 witches in The Craft?
Oh my God. No, I can't. That is so hard. No, I don't remember their names at all.
Dang. Okay, you can try. You don't even remember one.
Oh, I'm trying to remember the main one. The very goth-looking one, but I can't I just, for some reason,
Crazy?
I keep thinking Veruca. Veruca Salt. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. No. Okay, so we have Nancy, Sarah,
yes.
Bonnie, and Rochelle. Do you want a bonus question to see if you'll get it? It was
Nancy.
not on theme. I
That's
don't know
okay.
if you're going to get it. In Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, what is Jamie Lloyd's relation to Michael?
I'm going to assume that's when they kind of confirm or go off of the theory that they're brothers and sisters or siblings, I guess. Is that
No.
right? No? Oh my gosh. I'm just failing today.
It's okay.
Well,
I
what's
didn't
the
think you
answer?
were going to know that one. Jamie Lloyd is his niece.
Oh. I don't even know who Jamie Lloyd is.
Oh my gosh, get out of here. You're
I
fired.
know. I'm just failing all trivia today.
It's okay. I didn't get mine either. All right. We have no haunted housekeeping for today, so we can get straight into the Scream Sheet, our weekly breakdown of what has us shrieking with excitement. Warner Bros. Officially announced a massive A Nightmare on Elm Street 4K UHD box set collecting all 7 original films. Releasing September 30th, 2025. The set includes uncut versions of the first film and The Dream Child, an alternate 3D ending for Freddy's Dead, and 2 brand new featurettes with Robert Englund diving into Freddy's legacy and behind-the-scenes stories. Fans will also get a treasure trove of classic special features for each film, plus collectible steelbook packaging from the Amazon exclusive edition. Available both physically and digitally, the collection can be pre-ordered now. For Elm Street fans, it's the ultimate dream or nightmare come true, which has been a pretty big deal. I've seen people really excited about this.
Yes, I have been seeing so many people talk about this online. Did you happen to catch the price?
I did not, but I can get it for you.
I feel like this is very expensive, like at least $200. I don't know. But I am excited that it's giving you like the 3D glasses to watch the movie. So that's pretty cool.
But usually you have to like actually have a 3D TV for that, right?
Well, I saw that the 3D glasses for this version are the red and blue glasses, and I don't think you need a 3D TV for those. I think the film is edited with those colors in mind, and the colors is what makes it 3D, I believe. I could be wrong.
Dang. If that's the case, I'm about to be $200 short for the rest of my life. Let's see. I'm clicking on it right now. It's $100. It's $99.95. Regular price is $104.98, but it's 5% off right now.
That's not a bad price for all of the movies. How many movies is it? 7?
7.
That's not a bad price for 7 movies. That's definitely worth
it's
the
not.
price.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially it's all 4K. Huh. I'm not good with buying physical media. Like, I don't really own any physical media of any horror movies. I think I own maybe like a... what's it called? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. The music thing, the circular...
The vinyl?
The vinyl. It was gifted to me by some friends as the Scream vinyl, and that's probably the only physical media I own. I'm really bad with that. Yeah, I actually haven't listened to it because I'm kind of scared to like open it all because it looks so nice the way it's all like packaged. But I think that's the only thing I have physically. I'm not really attached to things like that. So for me, it's all digital, and my physical stuff are like the dolls that I have.
Your toys.
My toys, yeah.
That's cool. I will take that vinyl from you if you ever want to rehome it.
I'll think about it.
What spooky news do you have on your end?
So I guess I just wanted to continue the Horror Nights news. The Terror Tram is confirmed to be the Blumhouse theme again. I believe this is the 3rd year in a row that they're doing the Blumhouse theme in the Terror Tram. I kind of wished it was something different this year just to, mix it up a little bit. But I also understand that it just makes sense because there's so many IPs that Blumhouse has, and it's makes sense for them just to have one area where they can all like roam free, or you can just walk through and experience all of those IPs that they own. But I did want something a little bit different.
That's fair. I don't know why. I have a feeling there's going to be something new because it is the 15 years anniversary of Blumhouse. So, I'm a Blumhouse stan and I believe very much in Jason Blum. So I am hoping that there will be a surprise this year.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope they include something we haven't seen before just to kind of freshen it up a little bit. But they also announced some more scare zones, which sound kind of cool. So the first one they announced was the Chainsaw Clowns, which I feel is kind of normal. I feel like there's always chainsaws revving at any, that you go to or any theme park you go to during the spooky season. But the other one I do like was the Noche Brujas or Noche de Brujas, which is kind of cool, which I believe it's the Latin inspired scare zone. So that should be fun to see. Hopefully we can see oh my God, what's her name? The crying woman. La Llorona. Out walking around.
What's her name? The crying woman. I always love how you call women. I don't know. It's so funny.
So hopefully she's out there. We could take some pictures with her.
That would be cool. Have they had this before?
I'm thinking, I don't know if it's the actual La Llorona, but I have seen like Latin inspired characters. Out. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. I hadn't even really realized that they do specific scare zones. That's funny. I should have known that because I've been there before.
Yeah, they like segment them off and they like say in that specific little zone.
That's cool. Well, I've seen a bunch of TikToks of people showing the bride dancing Mexican music. So I'm like, is she going to hang out there? And are they implying that the bride is Hispanic?
I know, right? It's always the Mexican music. So that would be cool if they go out more often during the night, because I don't think I remember them going out during horror nights. They're only out during the daytime. So I'm wondering if maybe they'll change it up this year. Hopefully.
I'm still honestly so shocked that they're not doing anything with the monsters at Universal Hollywood, because every other Universal thing has monsters. Like Florida obviously has Dark Universe, the new Universal Studios thing at Vegas has monsters, and then Chicago's gonna get monsters too, I'm pretty sure. So I'm like, why is Hollywood being left out of the monster game? Like, I don't know. I'm still convinced they're hiding a secret or something.
It's possible. Well, actually, I mean, one of the years they didn't have them walking around, but they had them posing for pictures. So they had like a little section where they would go escort them to like one station, and they would just stand there for pictures. So maybe they'll do that.
Yeah,
and that wasn't advertised. Cool. Yeah,
for sure. All right, Ghosters, it's time for our favorite chat of the week, keeping the spook alive.
It's alive. It's alive.
I have been spooking way too hard lately, so I feel like I should just start off with it because I'll just keep going on and on. But I have been living my best spooky life. I'm so excited. We are in pre-production again for Bad Boy, but it's been so great. We had our first read-through with our cast, and it's been so nice. Our lead actress invited us to a screening of one of her films this weekend, so we went to go do that. And then one of our supporting actors, also her boyfriend, had a horror film premiering on Friday, so we've been going to local screenings all weekend, which has been super fun to just connect with the local filmmaking community and see what our cast and crew are passionate about. Like, that's always really nice to support them. I also got a surprise PR package from Wednesday on Netflix, which was crazy. It's like a Tim Burton month for me because I also got an opportunity to promote the Danny Elfman show coming to Red Rock. So I have been living my best Tim Burton life this month. So I've been planning my spooky outfits for the Danny Elfman show, and I also have another Wednesday Netflix event that I'm going to this week. Actually, we're both going to be going to that, so I'll let you talk about it more so I don't just keep yapping away. And we also watched Sweeney Todd for the first time. I had a live stream like 2 weeks ago where I was Halloween hunting for Disney Halloween merch, and there was this shirt with the evil queen as the witch, like the old hag, and it said something about pies, and everyone in the comments went crazy, commenting, "Don't eat the pie." And I was like, what are you guys talking about? And like, I've never in my entire creator journey seen so many people like start commenting and like kind of like picking at the joke that I didn't know was going on, you know? So I was like, what is going on? And people have been telling me over the last 5 years, like, watch Sweeney Todd, but Mr. Spooks never wanted to. And he was on the live, so he felt upset that I called him out for not wanting to watch it. So he was like, fine, let's watch it. We just got like such bad FOMO over it. I felt I have never been left out of a joke in my own community. It was crazy. But nonetheless, everyone was right. It was a very fun watch. So me and Mr. Spooks did a episode for our Patreon, or for my Patreon, for the Spooky Soiree podcast, where we review Sweeney Todd. So it's kind of like a throwback to the Ghoulmates podcast. So yeah, and I ate the Wendy's Wednesday meal. I could go on and on. Spirit opened. It's spooky season. It's here. We're thriving. What are you up to?
I know. I feel like everything is just coming up so quickly for you. Like, you're getting all these like different things you have to do and all the packages that you're getting, and then Spirit Halloween opening, and you have to go check that out. So it's really exciting. I have not been to Spirit yet. I looked at the ones that were closest to me, and they still say opening in August, it is August, but I guess later August. But I also have not seen Sweeney Todd either, which is bad because I love musicals and I love horror, and I feel like it's a horror musical and I haven't seen it. So bad on me. So I'll get on that soon and watch that. Maybe that'll be a thing I need to do before the spooky season ends. So yes, definitely expedite that on my bucket list. What else? Oh, yes, the Wednesday dinner thing that came up recently. I believe it was Ghoul Host that started promoting it on Instagram, and I was like, what the heck is this? So I went into it, and it takes you to like a personality quiz. Did you do this too?
Yes.
Where you take a personality quiz? Okay. And it kind of matches you with 5 random people. So you sign up for this. You take this quiz and they sit you at a table with 5 random people who they think would, I guess, match with you, and you go have dinner with them. So I need to plan my Wednesday outfit. I do have a striped polo that looks like Pugsley's. So I might wear that, but it's pretty baggy. It's good, like kind of like a oversized fit. So I need to
That's
figure
kind of
out.
how he wears the original Pugsley, I think.
Yeah.
So.
But I only own skinny jeans or like thin jeans, and I don't think that would look right with that style of top. So I need to figure out a whole outfit and shoes, and I don't know if I need accessories. So I'm kind of stressing about it. I'm not going to lie. 1, because I don't know what I'm wearing, and 2, because I'm also very shy, and I will be going to this alone in downtown LA, which is like 40 minutes away from me. And I'm going to be at a table with people I don't know. So I'm very terrified to see what this experience is going to be like. But I'm really trying to push myself to go out there and interact with strangers.
I love this because this is kind of going to be your first opportunity to like start to develop who Rabbit is. I feel because you'll kind of, I think sometimes being thrown into situations where people don't have like knowledge of who you are kind of helps you develop this like new personality. So yeah, just kind of like go in there thinking like right now I'm Rabbit and I'm here to like socialize and network. And I think you'll be fine. Like I think it'll be a really good experience for you. It's funny because I also used to be really afraid of doing things by myself. And my spooky bestie Liz here is going with me, and we have no idea if it's going to put us at the same table because it like lets you do like bring a +1. But when I sent it to her, it still took her to like the original page. And we're going themed. We're going to go as Wednesday and Enid. So I'm like, there's no way they would separate us if they saw us together. And she's like, I will beg them. I will tell them that I have anxiety, that they have to put me with my best friend. And I was just like, I'll be fine. Like, it's funny because like I used to be that way, but Mandy Spooks really does help me like separate like those anxieties, you know? So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be really bummed if there's no like photo ops or anything that come of this. But I'm super excited about it. And it's really nice that they're doing it in so many cities.
Yeah, I thought it was, honestly, when you said, oh, like you should have texted this to me. I thought it was only here in downtown LA. Like I didn't realize that it was like a national thing that they're doing. I thought it was only here. So wasn't like an urgent message to you. But yeah, I definitely think it's going to be themed. I mean, it makes sense if they're calling it the Wednesday dinner, the Wednesday Netflix dinner. Yeah. I'm hoping there'll be like photo ops, and I'm really hoping that the dinner would actually be like themed too. So I hope the food is kind of like spooky themed, but we'll see what happens.
I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah, that's really cool. I also find it so weird that they haven't promoted it much. Like only people who follow Ghoul Holes basically found it, I think. So I'm curious to see if maybe it's like a practice thing to see if they'll do more and then promote it further. I have no idea, but yeah. It'll be kind of cool for us to be able to experience it in different cities and then come back and be like, oh, what was it like for you?
Yeah. I'm excited to like come back and kind of share stories.
Yeah, yours will probably be way cooler because you're in LA.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
All right. So for today's quick lesson, I thought it was the perfect time to share one of my favorite true stories since it's perfectly in theme with today's episode because there was a teacher who was actually accused of being a witch in Arizona. So Ghoulsters, hang up your broomsticks and grab your notebook because Slash is in session. So back in 1969 in Tucson, Arizona, a professor of folklore and witchcraft rolled into Flowing Wells High School to give a talk about what witches were like in early American lore. And surprisingly, it was nothing like the pointy hat and cauldron image we have today. According to the professor, witches back then were said to have blonde hair, green eyes, a widow's peak, a pointed left ear, and they wore a lot of green. After this lecture, the students started whispering that one of their teachers, Anne Stewart, checked all the boxes. And here's why I kind of love her, because instead of shutting it down, she played along. She used the quotation witch label as a fun little hook to keep her students engaged. But as we all know, in this creepy little community called the real world, innocent fun never stays innocent for long. Soon, other teachers and even townsfolk started accusing her of actually being a witch. She had been with the school district for 11 years when suddenly she was slapped with a list of charges that sounded like they came from a Puritan fever dream. The list included teaching witchcraft, admitting to being a witch in a way that could psychologically harm students, allegedly, causing mental stress for other teachers, going off curriculum in a way that hurt the curriculum, being a poor influence, and of course, insubordination. None of it was true, but that didn't stop the hate mail. She even received anonymous letters quoting the Bible, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." When the LA Times came knocking, she gave the interview wearing a cross and hiding her widow's peak, telling them a witch would never wear a cross. It was heartbreaking because you could tell she had just been trying to prove she wasn't something she had never claimed to be. But here was the twist ending. She took it to court and she won. Snaps for Anne Stewart. The district had to give her job back and pay her lost wages, but after that, she disappeared from the public record. No one knew what became of her. So here is the takeaway, my spooky scholars. Even in the 1970s, almost 300 years after Salem, the fear of witches was still enough to ruin a woman's life. The witch hunt never really ended. It has just evolved over and over again, as we see with Miss Garner in Weapons.
Wow. That is so terrible, because I feel like for me, at least when I was in school, I would get so bored in class, and I don't want to blame the teachers like what they're teaching is boring, but this was just a fun way to incorporate something into the classroom to kind of keep your attention.
Engaging,
and it looked like
yeah.
to make it more engaging. So it looked like she found something. She's like, oh, this is a great way to keep my students engaged and keep the conversation going and make it more fun, instead of like being told a story. They're kind of, in the moment with a witch in the classroom. So that's just so upsetting that it could have been such a cool thing for the students to grow old and tell their own kids like, oh, I was in the class and our teacher was a witch and this and that. And now it kind of just changed into this horror story for this woman, this poor teacher who was just trying to do something cool for her class, and it got twisted into something crazy that wasn't even true. Makes me sad.
Yeah, for sure. And I honestly, this happened in Tucson. We lived in Phoenix for a long time, and I always wanted to go visit that school before leaving, just to like see the school. And I'm super bummed we never did it, especially now that I'm like, I can't believe, because I shared this story when I covered the craft on the original version of this podcast, and I always loved it. And like, I'm just so bummed I never went to actually like see it or even investigate it more. Like, what happened to her? I need to know.
I know. Yeah, I kind of do want to know, like, is she still teaching? But maybe that's what she wanted. She just wanted to disappear and have people not talk about her anymore, just to avoid all the negative press. And I'm sure she got hate from random people that she probably didn't even know.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to randomly bring this up. Did you ever read the book Miss Nelson is Missing as a kid?
No. It sounds familiar, though.
I just want to mention it because it's like my favorite kids like children's book. But it's about a teacher where her students aren't behaving. So she teaches them a lesson and she goes like on leave and she comes back as a substitute, but she's like an evil substitute and she wears like the black wig and like she looks like a witch. And all of this, like all the vibes that we're talking about, reminds me a lot of Miss Nelson is Missing.
Yes, I do remember that book. I didn't remember the name of the book, but yes, I could see the pictures in my mind now as you were explaining it. I was like, oh yes, I do know this book. I didn't remember the name, but yes, I did read that book.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was so good.
Yes, I love it. I always was like, if I was a teacher, I would read this to my students like a few times throughout spooky season and then show up as Miss Nelson for Halloween.
That would be so cool.
Yeah,
but then you'd probably
really
be accused of being a witch, so be careful.
Yes, and get fired. All right, so that brings me to today's spooky question of the day. So since we're talking witches for the first time, I think, on this podcast, have you ever done any rituals, spells, brujeria, magic?
I definitely have thought about doing it, but I guess that goes into my skeptic mind where I'm like, oh, it's not real. Even if I do it, it's just a waste of time. But then there's like times where I'm like, I mean, if it doesn't hurt, if I try to do some brujeria here and there. But no, I have not done any rituals or spells. I haven't even touched a Ouija board or anything like that. But I don't know. I am curious. So maybe in the future, I wouldn't be opposed to it if we meet somebody and they're like, oh, let's do some spells here and there or some like good energy vibe kind of spells. Like I'm down to do it. I'm not opposed to it. I just haven't been approached with the opportunity to, and I know nothing about it. So it's not like I can conduct anything myself. What about you?
So I don't think I've done spells, but I guess I did my first ritual this year when I talked about how like I did my first witchy episode on Spooky Soiree podcast. And I don't know, I feel like it's more inner work healing than anything else. For me, in my experience, I also wouldn't be opposed to trying like an actual spell if it's for good. I would be way too scared to try anything that's like malicious, you know? Right. But as far as like the rituals with like the new moon go, it was very, very healing for me. And I feel like it really helped me just like close a chapter that really needed to be closed. But the thing is, I'm also too busy to keep track of all of those cycles to know like when's the best time to do that healing work. At that time, I was just so like broken, to be honest, that seeing it like it just kept coming up and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. But then I know like so many opportunities to continue doing those kind of rituals have happened since and I haven't done anything. But I think I feel like when I'm lost, it's almost like religion. I feel like when I feel lost again, I'll probably like turn to it again and be like, okay, I want to like just reflect and see how I can heal and move on from this. So yeah, nothing spooky, but very helpful for anyone's journey.
Yeah, I definitely think it's more of like a mindset. You're shifting your mindset and putting a specific kind of energy out into the world. So very similar to you, I probably wouldn't do any like negative spells because as we learned in the craft, anything you put out comes back towards you 3 times, right? 3 times worse. So I'd be too, even though I am skeptic, I am a little too scared to actually put it into practice.
Rudy's rule of just in case.
Just in case, exactly.
All right, Ghosters, it's time for the spoiler pack segment of the show. So if you don't want spoilers, this is your warning to turn back now and come hang out with us once you've seen the movie. What popped into theaters this week, Rabbit?
Alrighty, so this week, Weapons popped into theater. It is currently certified fresh with a popcorn meter rating of 87%. So people are absolutely raving and loving this movie. So let's get into the summary. Alrighty, all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanish on the same night at exactly the same time. A community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. A witch hunt begins as the community blames the teacher, but turns out it was actually a literal witch and not the teacher. That witch's name is Gladys. She was able to infiltrate this small community where she conjured a spell with the help of her nephew to attract all the children to her lair in her basement. Under the spell, she uses the children to feed her old, aging body. Her nephew is able to break and reverse the spell, with the children then ending up chasing and pulling her apart limb by limb. Alrighty, so it was directed, produced, and written by Zach Cregger. And in the cast, we have Justine, played by Julia Garner, Archer, played by Josh Brolin, Gladys, the witch, played by Amy Madigan, and Alex, the nephew, played by Carrie Christopher. So let's get into initial reactions. So initially, I came out of this movie asking, why was this movie so long? It was a 2-hour long movie, and I'm like, why was this so long? But I do want to say I did like it, but I don't think I'd love it as much as everyone else is hyping up this movie to be. It was a good movie, but just, I don't know, I just did not feel the same hype as everybody else. I don't want to say it was overhyped, because that's just the thing that happens when a movie is just so anticipated and you see all these amazing reviews, your expectations are set so high. And I think a movie like this is good to go in just blind with no expectations. And I think that was kind of like my fault going to this movie. I just had these high expectations because people were just raving about it, and I didn't get to see it opening night. So it was already maybe 2 days out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to see this movie because it's so good. And then I saw it and I'm like, okay, I mean, it's good, but not as good as y'all were saying.
Yeah, I feel like I want to tell you, don't put any of my negative comments on TikTok, but also I know that they'll get traction. So do your job, Rabbit, because you've been doing so good at it. But I do think this movie is extremely overhyped. I am struggling because I started this podcast to respectfully review movies. And the more I ponder on this movie, the more I dislike it. I have very few positive things to say about it. But they are very objective. I feel like, I wouldn't be credible if I wasn't honest with you guys. But subjectively, I am not a fan of Zach Cregger's work, period. I did not like Barbarian, and I know now why I don't like his work after the second film. So I'm hoping to really respectfully cover this in a way that is objective and not opinionated, but it's going to be hard because I do have thoughts. And I'm just going to say it. I feel like some movies just get bandwagoners, and I think this is one of them. And I hate that there are good movies that get bandwagoners who just want to talk trash about them, like Woman in the Yard, for example. So this episode is like a very trying, testing moment for me as a reviewer.
I'm interested to see how this goes because I know we have our notes written out in the same script, but I have not read your notes yet. So I'm going into your review also blind. So I have no idea what you're going to say about anything. But yeah, I do feel like sometimes there are like bandwagoners who see something good, and the only reason they're going to go see it is because someone they saw online saying it was good. And I think that's kind of harmful to movies also, because just because the person says online that a movie is good or bad, and that dictates your decision on whether you're going to watch a movie or not, kind of sucks. Because yeah, I guess we'll just get into it. But
yeah, no, I get you.
I just wanted to add on to what you were saying because I agree.
Yes.
Okay, so the tone and atmosphere. So the whole vibe of this movie to me felt so eerie in a way. It started off like a true crime story, but then it kept dropping those little paranormal scenes here and there, and it made you started feeling, a little bit uneasy, and left you wondering, like, what is this movie? What is happening? What am I going to get into next? And when I say this movie was eerie, it's also like the feeling of the movie, like I said, what is happening? But then felt eerie in some scenes because, yes, some scenes were very unsettling to me. The one scene that like kind of just made me think of the word eerie was the scene where the teacher is waiting, Justine is waiting in the car, and she falls asleep, and the mom comes out with the scissors and just kind of like walks out in a trance to go get a clip of her hair. And that scene kind of just encapsulated the whole movie for me, where it was like, it's just a weird, eerie movie.
Yes, it is very creepy. I feel like the really creepy scenes were done very, very well, but very minimally. Like, I don't think that they lasted the whole movie, because at a certain point, the movie tone and atmosphere completely switches, and then you're like no longer scared, which we'll talk about. But I think in general, the movie was hard to like predict based on the trailer. They did a really good job of keeping people blind. So there was a very weird structure to it that either worked or did not work for people. And it jumped around. The timeline jumped around a little bit. It never went where you expected it to. And I do want to say that I think that is Zach. Was it Cregger? Zach Cregger. Zach Cregger's style. I think his style is to subvert expectations, which we can get into more later, but I think like ultimately that's really what you can expect out of this film, is like his style is to subvert expectations. That's exactly how I would describe his style.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like his past two movies, Barbarian and Weapons, they both have like a hard left turn. Like you think it's going one way and then it's like, just kidding. It's about this actually.
Yes.
So I do like that aspect to it. But like I said, I don't know if this movie deserved 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, but let's get into the direction and the cinematography. So for me, nothing really stood out to me in the cinematography aspect, but I do like the direction of the movie. I do like the way it was structured into different chapters, then leaving the last chapters to showcase Gladys. Kind of what I said before is it took a left turn at the end of the chapters. You thought it was going one way and it totally went the other way. I like that they really kept Gladys a secret in the trailers, but also even throughout the movie, like you don't really realize that there's this like evil entity out there. You're just thinking, okay, something happened. There's a true crime that somebody kidnapped these kids or did something and it totally went left field. And I think it made that character of Gladys just so much more jarring because she is so unexpected, one, but also she is so out of place compared to all of the other characters. She does not fit in with everybody in this movie. With everybody that you're introduced to, she looks so cartoonish compared to everybody in the movie. So I liked that direction of where it took this movie. But yeah, I just to sum everything up, it started off as a true crime story and kind of just morphed into this scary paranormal witch reveal kind of thing.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that. I can't decide whether or not I liked the structure, to be honest. In a way, I did, because every time a new thing was revealed, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, it was very clever. And as a writer, I was thinking, like, this seems like a nightmare to write. Honestly, like, it must have been really hard to write this. But a lot of the complaints I've heard are that it was too long. And I'm like, it was long because of that structure. Because they could have easily cut 30 minutes off of it by just telling it in order, showing you all those details without the structure. But I get from a creative perspective, like, wanting to do it different. So I'm torn on whether or not I disliked that aspect of the movie. Like, objectively, though, I do think it was written well. Like, I was impressed by that. I was like, that would be really difficult to do. But from a direction standpoint, I did think that the nightmare sequences were done really well. They were definitely creepy. And at those points, I was like, I should have brought my comfort hoodie for this movie. I think I've talked about that before, but I've just learned that, like, I love wearing a hoodie to just, like, put my hood on when I'm watching horror. It's just like a comfort thing. I don't know why, but I didn't have it, and I was like, dang, I really needed my comfort hoodie for these moments. But once the witch reveal happens, I was excited for a while, but then I feel like he just didn't go all in on that vibe. Like, there were a lot of questions left unanswered, and I'll get more into it in the writing aspect. But from a direction and cinematography perspective, I'm like, if you're gonna do a witch film, then go all in on it. Like, show us a transformation, show us those, like, witch, what would I call it, signatures, like the nails, the pointy nose, like something. And honestly, it felt a lot like the witch looked like parts of the character from The Substance as well, which is funny. By the way, guys, I'm sorry we forgot to mention, weapons was just such a hot topic. We decided to put it first this week. So The Substance is coming next week, side note. But yeah, I was just like, if you're going to do a witch, then do a witch. Like, where did this go? It didn't really go anywhere. So yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with that. That was kind of my frustration too, of the direction, where it kept the witch thing such a secret in the beginning. And then you get to the witch part and you're just like, okay, go full witch. Like, let me get in this full witch fantasy. And I felt like it didn't get there, but it went there with the spells. I guess you can say the spell that she put all these people under. But I just wanted more of her. Like, you only saw her do some evil things, but I wanted to see more of her, like her backstory. I wanted to know where she came from. Like, who is she? I wanted to see her chapter in this movie, which might have put everything out of order, I guess you can say, if we saw her perspective. But I just wanted to see more of her when she was revealed, if that makes sense.
I agree.
Which is getting into our writing and pacing. The more I process this movie, the more I think about it, the more I see people talk about it online. I understand the vision of having a non-linear story split into different chapters. I think it's kind of clever. It's a different way of storytelling, a different vibe you get going into a horror movie. But I don't think we needed that many chapters, if I'm being honest. I really feel like the cop did not need his own chapter, and the junkie guy did not need his own chapter. I feel like that could have been one chapter. Like, their stories are so intertwined with each other. I feel like you were seeing the same story when you saw those chapters. Like, you didn't really get anything new. You could have got what you got from the different chapters, and their stories could have just been one, and we could have saved some time, some 15 minutes or so, if we just combined those two chapters, because I didn't enjoy their stories. I don't think they were strong enough to have their own chapter. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what I was wanted to say. Oh,
It's okay.
so I felt annoyed at some parts, especially with those two chapters specifically, because I felt like we got so close to a reveal and we got so close to the climax. Then it just stopped and we went back to like the middle of the story. And I'm like, I don't want to experience this again. Just get to the point, please. I felt like this movie was like edging the audience, like constantly edging the audience, and I was like, stop it, like, get to the point, stop rewinding, I don't care anymore. Just get to the point. So I was not happy with that part of the story, because it was like, okay, we just got to get to the house, we got to get inside, and we got to know what's inside the house, and it just kept going back and forth, and I was just getting really frustrated with that. And I don't know if that was his purpose of frustrating us or giving us or teasing us with that, but I did not enjoy that feeling.
That's interesting. I'm dead. Like, that is such a funny, like, way to explain it. As far as the characters, I agree. I don't think the cop needed one. I do think, as I've learned so much about how important comedic relief is, I think that the junkie really did provide some comedic relief, because even till the very end, he's like, so am I going to get my money for this? But I thought, okay, my main gripe with this film is there are so many plot holes, and I'm pissed about it. Like, you guys cannot be saying this was a 10 out of 10 film and saying, oh my God, it was the best horror film of the year, blah, 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 blah. And then the whole film has major plot holes. Like, I'm really upset about this. The whole movie is based on the fact that, what's his name? Is his name Archer? Archer.
Your dad?
Yes.
Yes, Archer.
Has ring footage, right? And at the end, you see all these kids running towards the house. You're telling me that nobody caught other footage of the kids running on all their cameras, like the Nextdoor app, Facebook groups, like everyone would have been talking about the fact that they had random footage of kids running at 2:17 in the morning. Like, that was just, I'm like, you could have found a way to work around that, like that she cut the internet at that time or something, like. So that really upset me. I'm like, there was so much thought that went into the structure of this. Like, that was such an easy plot hole that was overlooked. And I don't know if it was like, I didn't even think about it and I overlooked it, or if it just wasn't important enough. But to me, by the end, I was like, this is dumb. Like, I cannot believe that they didn't catch this one thing. And I feel so bad, because that's a very subjective, opinionated statement. But I really was just like floored by the fact, like, nobody saw all these kids running down the street. They made it sound like they had left and literally like disappeared halfway through, not that like they just didn't know where they went from that point. So I had a lot of issues with that. And then the whole witch thing kind of just doesn't even make sense once you start to like really put the pieces together, because she never like transforms to be younger. The kids are all alive, like everyone's still alive. So it's like, why are you collecting more people, but yet you look the same? You don't appear to be getting younger. So I'm just like, what was the point of all of this? Like, is it just to keep you alive at the age you're at now? Are you even happy at this point? Like, what is the point of all of this? So I don't know. I was just left with a lot of questions. Like, what was the point of this? Why did you do this to everyone? We didn't get a transformation out of it. So I don't know. I just felt very confused by how much effort was put into the writing of this and the structure and the amount of questions that were still left afterwards. Like, we could have, like you said, cut one story to leave more time to explain what the witch was doing this whole time.
Yeah. Well, just like in Jaws, I will counter your point. For some reason, this reminded me of our conversation about Jaws, of how the government doesn't have the best interest of its people, or, politics
Yes.
or whatever. So I will counter your point. Could this be a commentary on the police? Could this be
Yes.
a thing where it's like bad detective work? They don't really care if the case gets solved, because they do mention that there are detectives that are trying to figure this out, but we never meet a detective. So yes, it is very confusing as a viewer. You don't know if that is intentional. Are they literally doing nothing because that's what people see the police as? Or are we not saying that because you didn't write it into the movie? So it's very confusing. So I do understand, but maybe that's his commentary on the police and all that. So I don't know. Maybe it could be that. And another thing I kind of wanted to counter was, I think she did get a little bit younger, but it wasn't significant enough for people to see. Because I was thinking the same thing. Like, wait, she had those kids down there for a month, right? It was like a month or something. And she still looked old. Like, nothing really changed on her. But I did notice towards the end scenes, she did have longer hair. I don't know if you noticed it, that when she didn't have her like wrap, or she didn't have the red wig, that she did have kind of long straight hair. So maybe in this world it's slower. It's not like a hocus pocus kind of thing where you suck their soul out and you immediately get younger. Maybe it's like a slow process. But I agree, like, we need to hear something. Like, was that what you're saying? Is that it takes a long time? Or did you just not make a story out of it? Like, does she just look the same?
Yeah.
So I also agree with you, but I'm like, also, maybe that was there for a reason. I don't know.
No, and I agree. And I did think that this really does feel like it is a commentary on not trusting cops. Like, genuinely, I did think that. But I still feel that even if it was the cops, like, when Archer went to the other parents, the mom was initially like, no, why would I show you the footage? Like, that was such a weird reaction.
It was.
Like, if someone came to me wanting to try to put pieces together, I'd be like, yes, let's figure it out. I'll show you everything I have. You show me yours. So it's kind of like, are they also saying parents are complicit when things happen? I don't know. Like, I just genuinely, I accept that it's a commentary on police, but you're telling me that none of the other parents were trying to figure this out, where their kids went, that the community wasn't coming together trying to, like, find evidence. Like, people also love gossip. So, like, if someone saw someone else's kid, they would have fed the fire and been like, oh, well, I saw them do this, or I have this footage. Like, it's just, to me, it's just not plausible that nobody was talking about additional footage. Especially, like, it didn't seem like like, the houses were nice, so it was a prominent enough neighborhood. All of them had Ring cameras. Like, I'm sorry, I will not accept your counterpoint.
No, I totally agree, because these are nice suburb houses, and I'm agreeing with you when he goes to the mother and she doesn't want to give the footage, which I could see her maybe not wanting to give the footage to maybe the teacher. That makes sense. But it's another parent that their son went missing. Like, obviously, wouldn't you want to come together? Obviously, the police is not doing anything. Wouldn't you want to come together with other parents who are in the same situation as you and try to figure out where your kids went? Because they all went running somewhere. And if different cameras have different views of where they're running, I mean, it just makes sense to put it all together and find out where they go. And it's just weird that it took him a month to, like, oh, maybe I should look at what direction my son went and maybe try to investigate that. So yeah, that was kind of weird on the writing. So I do agree with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Oh, sorry. I had one more note on the writing stuff. I did want to talk about how Zach's style is to subvert expectations. So I really feel like his signature is to set a vibe or like, this is what this movie is. And then it turns out that it is something like so farly different from what it's marketed as. And that is a very dangerous game to play. But apparently it works marketing wise because I was pissed about Longlegs too. And that's exactly what Longlegs did as well. Like both of these films were marketed as like the scariest film of the year or like the best horror film of the year. And everyone came out saying, oh my God, it was the best movie of the year. And again, I went in and hated it as well. So I don't like subverted expectation films. And I think it is because I am a vibey person. So when you promise me something in branding and marketing and then you change it, it's like, I came here for this, but I got this and now I'm disappointed. So I don't think for like, because you were saying it was overhyped because everyone had like been saying it was good, but then you get something different or like it doesn't meet that expectation. I don't think it's that you're setting high expectations. I think it's that you're going in expecting what was marketed and then you got something different. So that's how I feel about that as well. And like, I will admit it is creative and that's a cool approach. But as an audience member, I don't like that style. So that's why I'm saying like, don't hold my review to judge this movie. Like, go see it for yourself and make your own decisions, because I will admit objectively this is just not my cup of tea. I don't like his work specifically. The other thing I wanted to say was that I did think that this movie was poorly named. They had a line where Archer says, it's like somebody's weaponizing these children. And I'm like, if you have to force a line to explain why you named this movie something, then rename it. I'm sorry. I have very hot takes on this film. But there was even a scene where like a rifle shows up and it was like, what did that have to do with a witch? Like, none of this makes sense. Stay consistent. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have let me like think about it for so many days before filming.
No, I like this Mandy Spooks. I like this vibe.
I'm
no,
very
I agree. What I totally agree with the assault rifle in the sky when he was having his out-of-body experience. At that point, we still didn't know what was happening in the movie. So in my mind, I was like, oh, this is a commentary on school shootings, I guess. And then it just was so out of place and I did not understand it. And I don't think the movie needed it. I feel like it could have just been a big clock or a digital clock in the sky or something, and that like numbers just penetrating him. That's all he could think about. But it was just so weird that they included the rifle, the huge rifle in the sky with a number on it. It just didn't really make sense. And I don't think that was needed. I think we could have kind of like picked up on, oh, a whole classroom of kids are gone. Like we could have picked up on that kind of commentary. So that was kind of strange.
Yeah.
But let's get... Sorry, did you have anything else to add?
I'm done. We can move on. I'm trying to calm down.
Alrighty, let's get into the casting and the characters. So a lot of these characters were very unlikable. Justine, the teacher, felt a little pretentious at some points, and she felt really selfish in some scenes also, where she was so desperate to talk to the one kid, Alex, that did survive or was in the classroom. And I'm like, girl, you got to respect your boundaries. Like, we understand you were both in the same situation, but that is a kid that is also processing his own things.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need you to be interfering with whatever he's going to do. So she was very unlikable, especially with all the drinking that she was doing, which I understand, that's how some people deal with their problems is, unfortunately going to alcohol and kind of like drowning their worries away. But another character that I did not like was the cop. He was a terrible, terrible person. The only good thing about him was that he was very attractive. He was very handsome. But one thing I do not like about this character that I think my audience watching the theater did like him was the one scene where he punches the junkie in the head and then he sees the camera is recording him from his cop car. Everybody in the audience kind of like gasped and like, "Oh no!" I'm like, "Oh no! Why are you feeling bad for him? He just punched the guy." So it just made me dislike him even more and dislike my audience because it felt like they were on his side, where he committed a crime and they were rooting for him. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, shut up and let me watch the movie. Which I'll get into later. I hated my audience. They were terrible. But the one character that I did like was, or two characters, one of the two, is Archer, the father. I did not like him in the beginning, but as it went on, he really started growing on me. And I'm like, okay, he's the one that's going to figure everything out and finally get this movie going and figure out what is going on here. But one thing I did want to touch on him that I don't think the movie really said anything was that he had like medium abilities. Like when he went into sleep, he had this like astral projection kind of moment where he was able to come out of his body, go back to that night of what happened, and see his son get out of bed, run out of the house, and see what direction he was going in. I guess you could say maybe it was a nightmare of him sleeping in his bed and then viewing the footage of the Ring camera, and that kind of just like went into his mind. But then towards the end of this nightmare or this dream, it felt like astral projection or like a medium kind of abilities, because he goes back to the bed and he sees his son laying there and he's trying to talk to him, and his son is looking at him, but the son cannot speak to him, which is true because he's in this like trance state, so he can't really speak, but he can see his son through that dream. So I thought it was interesting that they gave him this scene but didn't elaborate on his abilities. It was very weird.
You mean another plot hole?
I guess so.
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. Apparently, I took some sassy pills this morning. But okay, so oh man, I had so much to say and now I'm lost. Okay, starting off with Justine. Wait, sorry. I'm all over the place. Let me finish your thought on the Archer thing. I will say that I did like our audience because when he sees Gladys, that's like the jump scare at that point. And then he wakes up and he's like, fuck. The whole audience laughed at that part. And I thought it was so funny. I was like, that was really good because you never really see that kind of reaction at a scary point in a more serious horror film like this. So that was done very well. And like I said, I'm going to be objective. So Justine, she passes the Courtney Cox rule. She is also in Wolfman, and she is the Silver Surfer in the new Fantastic Four. And all three, or I first saw her in Wolfman. I really liked her in that film. This one and in Silver Surfer, she was so good that I kept trying to see the Wolfman girl, and I just couldn't I was like, oh man, I can't make the connection. So she did a really good job. She wasn't likable, but I understand her, but I wouldn't say I hated her, but I get where you're coming from. But she wasn't she was flawed. She was human. Archer, I actually initially really hated. I understand where he was coming from, but I actually really hated that he went to the woman, the mother in that scene. And because she said no, he overwrote her, I guess, and went directly to the husband. And that to me was like, ugh, males. But I also understand, I'm like, okay, he wants to get his son at any cost, so he's going to try every route. And I get it. And the mom was wrong. She should have wanted to find her kid too. But he grew on me. I loved him so much. And I was absolutely so upset that he died. So upset. I loved him. The cop gave me young Charlie Swan vibes. Physically.
Swan. Why do I know
Twilight. Twilight.
Who?
The dad in Twilight.
Oh. Yeah,
he really reminded me of him. I was like, oh my God, that's funny. Everyone's going to be hot for him. But yeah, I agree. He gave me Charlie Swan vibes aesthetically, but I agree. He was a piece of shit. Yes. I'm just going to be unfiltered today. And Alex, all I could think was, this is horrible. Poor kid, trauma for life. I hope that they took care of him on set, and that, like, I always wonder how they deal with child actors on these kind of movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alex, oh, that poor child. He went through so much in this movie from the beginning. I mean, he was bullied in school, and when we finally get to his chapter, you're just like, damn, these kids suck.
Yes.
Like, it's good they got kidnapped.
And
But-
I was really bummed that the shitty kid was Archer's kid. At the end, when you find out, I was like, damn, why did it have to be him that was his son?
I know, yeah. It was so bad. And just Alex got the worst end of the stick in this whole movie. In the beginning, like I said, he was bullied. And then he had his loving parents, which Gladys kind of turned them into zombies, I guess you can say, and kind of tortured them right in front of him. And then he had to be their caretaker for his parents eventually, just to make sure that they stayed alive. And then when all the kids came into the basement, he had to be their caretaker also, feeding them the soup. And
Yes.
that is so traumatizing to have to go through that bullying and all the people in there that were complicit with his bullying and still take care of them. Ugh, I felt so sad for this kid, and he was just minding his own business the whole movie. Like, he did not want to ruffle any feathers. He was just doing his own little thing. He didn't even want to ride home from the teacher that was like, oh, hey, did they not pick you up? And he's like, no, it's okay, I'll just walk. And he walks home, and it was just the worst thing that could happen to the nicest character in the movie. Like, I just wanted to, like, jump into the movie and give him a hug, because
I
he
know.
went through so much. Made me so upset.
Yeah, it was. I was really bummed for him. And I will say, I think the actors in this film saved this film. Like, they all did such a great job on this. And I don't think we talked about Gladys much. Did we? Did you mention her?
Not yet. That was going to be my next
Okay.
person. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Okay. So then we get to our main-ish character, Gladys the witch. And I think she kind of secured her spot as a horror icon. Maybe not an icon where we think of like Ghostface or Michael Myers, but more around like the Longlegs and maybe like the Hannibal Lecter area, where they're kind of like those kind of icons. Because I really started hating her. I'm like, this woman is terrible and someone needs to stop her. But yeah, she was like a real witch. Like, I think we think of witches, we think of I don't know, more like hocus pocus, fun, kind of want to do their own thing, but not really do too much harm. But no, she was full on witch. She just didn't care about anybody. All she cared about was herself. So when it got to the end, when Alex was finally able to break the curse and have all the children start chasing her and rip her apart, that was very satisfying for me.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about her. Like, I can't decide if, like, I just don't like her because she doesn't look like a traditional witch. I also just hated her, which that's her job, you know? But, like, would I want to dress as her for Halloween? No. Like, I just don't like the aesthetic of her. I wish she had looked more witchy. But I also understand the idea of, like, not wanting to do traditional, like, what everyone expects from a witch, you know? But I will say there was a film last year that came out. I can't remember. I think Dennis Quaid was in it. I need to get the name because I want to make a recommendation to everyone right now. The movie was not great, but it is more of a kid's film. And oh my God, I can't find it. I'm so unprepared right now. It came out last summer and it's about kids. But there's a witch in it. And I was floored. I was like, holy cow. That is a great witch on screen that I was not expecting. I'm still trying to find the name. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm trying to think.
Maybe it wasn't Dennis Quaid. It came out last year, though. It was... I'm sorry, guys. I will put it in the show notes what movie I'm talking about. Maybe it wasn't Dennis Quaid. But I'm like, if you're going to do a witch, do this kind of witch. Like, she was so freaking cool. So, I don't know. I guess I'm just being a hater at this point. She did her job, though. She did her job. I hated her, especially like the second Alex came home to her for the first time, and I was like, who are you to be talking to him this way? Like, what is your problem? Like, how entitled can you be to, like, just step in and do all this? But obviously she was a witch the whole time. So she did her job. That's all I'll say. I don't know if I liked her, but she did her job.
Yeah. You know what she does? The type of witch she is reminds me of, oh gosh, now I'm doing the same thing as you do. Oh, the movie, the Witches with
Yes.
the rats and all that. She reminds me of that type of witch where they kind of like eat children or turn them into rats. That's kind of like the witch she reminded me of with all when they take off their disguise and underneath is like a bald, wrinkly witch. So that's what she reminded me of. So I wasn't too upset of how she looked because it was, I guess, a take on a modern witch. I guess you can say a modern hocus pocus, maybe, you know, because she's doing the same thing, sucking the life out of children. I kind of liked her costume. I would love to see people out dressing like Longlegs and Gladys, like a little couple's costume. I think that would be so fun.
Don't feed it.
You would hate
Do not
it.
feed the trend.
Yeah, you would hate it, but I would love it. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the characters. Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
I'm just looking at, okay, I just have a question. Is it me, or in the nightmare sequences, was her makeup more clown-like?
Yes. I feel like they hyped up her features more in her scare scenes.
I need a closer look, because those scenes are like those typical, like, too fast to really make out what it was.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was more clown-like until we finally saw her for the first time at the school. And then I was like, wait, was that really like how her makeup was, or was it worse in the nightmare sequences?
I think it was a little bit exaggerated and probably hyped up. Like, I think her face was more white.
Yes.
Her mouth was bigger and her, like, the red on her mouth was bigger, and probably like the eyes were more concentrated blue.
Yeah, maybe. I was trying to see if there's more pictures online yet, but there isn't. I mean, I'll respect people who do it. It is kind of a cool costume. I think it's just like the overall movie that left me feeling like I can't support it. I can't hype it up. I can't fangirl over it.
I get that. Which I guess we're getting into the kills and scares. So I think this movie had some really good scares. I definitely jumped, like I felt startled in my seat a couple of times. And even some, I don't remember which scene. I think it's the one where she sees her in the ceiling. But that one gave me chills. Like, I got scared and like my chills started getting through all of my arms and everywhere. But yeah, I think it was the one where Justine is kind of alone in her bedroom and she is going to bed and she looks down the hall and trying to see like if somebody's there. And it kind of like calms down. You're like, okay, nothing's there. She's going to go to bed. And then she looks up on the ceiling and it's like an image, or I don't know if it's an image because it was so fast, but it was either Gladys looking down at her, and it was terrifying. I did not expect that coming in. I definitely jumped, and yeah, I probably squealed a little bit, but it was good because other people like make noise, so it kind of like canceled my screaming out a little bit. But yeah, the same thing kind of happened when the father did his little astral projection, and the face that she looks at is kind of like Gladys emphasized with more horrifying features, I guess you can say. And the one scene that kind of freaked me out a lot was the principal, when you finally get to see his chapter and his story. So from that story from beginning to end was terrifying. I think that was the scariest chapter in my opinion, because that's when you kind of start figuring out Gladys's full potential and full power. So she goes over to their house and has him kill his partner. And she is like, oh, like no big deal is happening. She's like grabbing her stuff, putting everything away while this man is bashing his head into his partner's head and just bashing his head into pulp, really. And then she grabs out another piece of hair, which is Justine's hair, and has him change his target to Justine. So she just goes out running with blood on his face, his eyes kind of like bulging out from all the trauma that he just went through from bashing his head in, and just running with that creepy run all the way through the town looking for Justine. And yeah, he was like a little homing missile, I guess, a weapon, I guess you can say, to find and kill Justine. And that whole scene was just all terror. And I think that might be my favorite chapter of the whole movie.
I agree. I will say, I meant to say this in the characters, that I really loved how the principal and his partner were portrayed. Because I never caught on in the whole film, and maybe I missed it, so please let me know. But at no point was I like, oh, this principal is gay. Because, you know, they always love to make like the gay characters like flamboyant or funny or something. And then I loved how like simple and calm they were in their scene before she shows up. Like I really, really loved it. And that scene was done so well that I was really upset that she killed both of them, or like that she messed both of them up, because I just like instantly loved them so much. So like I wanted more of them.
I know. They had the best chapter, but also I think it was probably one of the shortest chapters. Like it was only a few minutes, and we got so much content out of that small chapter. But yeah, I also wanted more of them. I'm sad they all died.
Yeah, for sure. But it was done really well. I think you kind of pointed out all of the scenes that that I thought of, other than I guess like that main kill scene at the end with the kids eating her. That was so crazy, and I was just like, that must have been so fun to film, like to have like the kids running. Like also though, I'm like, I wonder what those attention spans were like, and like how hard it was to keep all of those kids like focused to do what they needed to do. And like I'm sure there were a lot of like outtakes too, probably, where like they would laugh where they weren't supposed to. Like it's just a crazy scene. But then they went all in on having them like actually like eating her in, like it looked like a iconic like zombie scene where you see like zombies eating brains. Like that's how far they went with it. So I think that was probably like the most gratifying part of the whole movie, and the coolest part of it. But I do still like the kills and scares. I don't know, I just wish we would have gotten like one good witch style scene from Gladys. Like it never, the stick was kind of like all we got witchiness, I guess. I don't even know how to explain it.
No, yeah, I agree. She could have had one big moment where she has this like big reveal or this big thing she does, because it was, when we would see her, it was always like a calm moment. Like she would go to her little tree, get her little branch, and just pick her finger. So everything, or every scene that she was in was very calm, or she was very calm. So it would have been cool to see something crazy from her to kind of get out of that facade, I guess, she was putting up.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the practical effects and CGI, which you kind of touched on before, which was the main thing I wanted to talk about in this section, was when they were tearing Gladys apart. That was such a cool scene. And like you said, very satisfying, because you just wanted that woman to die. So I would love to see a behind the scenes, like you said, just to see how they filmed it, how they created a dummy where they could rip her head off from her mouth or split her jaw in two. And I believe they were even eating her hands or something, or like something was going on with her hands where they were like peeling off her skin or something, or peeling off her limbs. It was such a cool scene. So yeah, I enjoyed that scene a lot.
Yeah, for sure. All I can think about is like the whole, but also it's just funny. Like that whole sequence really did remind me of The Substance, where like, I guess, you know, like the part in sorry, if you've seen The Substance, skip 2 minutes or something. Or if you haven't seen it, skip 2 minutes. But the part where like she is fully like the monster, like Demi Moore is officially the monster, and she throws on the yellow coat and starts running to pick up the substance. That really just reminded me of it, where she's like running through everywhere. Like that's the same vibe it gave of like having the audience like laugh after like all this heaviness, and like just laugh at like how ridiculous it is, but also like how necessary it is at the same time. So it felt very much like the same way it felt experiencing The Substance the first time, except with the element of the kids. Like I loved the echo, like how like you'd hear the like
Yeah.
Like you would hear it like come in and out.
As they're
like
going to the
crescendo.
houses.
Yeah. So I just thought all of that was done so well. So I just feel like, yes, cut one of the stories in the structure and give us more of this whole last scene. It just came and went so fast.
Yeah, I agree. But yes, my audience in the theater were also just laughing out loud during that end scene where they're kind of like running through the houses and creating chaos. And it felt like a Scooby-Doo kind of scene.
Yes.
Where they're like running through different
agree.
doors and coming out through different places. So that part was funny, but I don't know where else to bring this up. But I hated my audience so much. There was one group of people who, I don't know if you've experienced this before, where they think they're funnier than the movie. So they kind of make jokes in the movie. And it is so frustrating to try to watch a horror movie when people are obviously scared. And the way they try to not be scared is to make jokes. And it was so frustrating because you're not as funny as you think you are. Like, they were just making stupid comments. Like, I understand if you like scream in a movie, if you say, oh my God, or if you have like little moments where you like have to verbalize something because it's just shocking. But when you're trying to add on to the movie and make jokes as something is happening, it's just like, you don't need to do this. Like, there's a reason you're sitting in the audience and we're watching a movie. You do not need to be adding to the movie because you're not funny. And I didn't know where else to add that because they were laughing at this scene, but they were also making comments. And I'm like, please shut up. And we just watch this movie in peace.
Like, you're supposed to be quiet during this film.
Exactly. It tells you in the beginning of the theater, everywhere you go to, silence is golden. I should have shouted that out or something, but yeah, it was terrible. Okay, I forgot where we were. We're talking about CGI. Did you want to add anything else?
I honestly don't have much to add, and I feel like I forgot to mention something earlier, but it'll come back. Like, I remembered it, and I should have typed it as I remembered it, so maybe I'll have it in the wrap-up.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so let's get into the themes and symbolisms. I feel like with a lot of the horror movies that are coming out recently, they deal a lot with grief and how to deal with grief and, of course, trauma, how people deal with trauma. And I think this really parallels the reality of what happens in traumatic events in American schools, specifically school shootings. There was even where they showed that assault rifle, which kind of confirmed that it was kind of a commentary on school shootings. But that's really all I got from it. And then, of course, the whole cops not doing their job kind of thing. But that's really all I can come up with. And I guess at the end, we don't really get the satisfaction of everything goes back to normal. And I guess that's really the reality, is when something this traumatic happens to a community or to a family, you can't just recover from it immediately. It takes time to recoup and kind of get to a better space. And that's kind of what the little girl, the narrator, kind of said at the end, was some kids were finally able to talk again, but some kids were still like wishy-washy. And specifically Alex got rehomed and his parents are like in the hospital trying to get better. So yeah, a little too realistic and sad. I was hoping they all were happy at the end, but that's not reality.
I know, yeah. That really bummed me out, especially about Alex's parents, just because he went through so much and he loved them so much. Like, initially when he tells the teacher, like, don't talk to me and leave me alone, I was like, why are you being such a brat? Like, she's just trying to help. And then I realized because the motive was he couldn't say anything to keep his parents safe. So that really bummed me out too. Like, just the fact, like, more so him specifically is like, poor baby.
I know. Poor kid. Okay. Do you want to get into the final wrap-ups?
Oh, sorry. I forgot. I've been like all over the place today. I also just wanted to say, as far as like the themes and symbolism, I just feel like this movie is like the perfect example of like you should treat everyone as innocent until proven guilty, because like that's the whole thing, because they scrutinize the teacher so much, and I'm like, there were so many red flags about something happening at Alex's home, which was like another like semi-plot hole I felt happened, because when Gladys shows up with the dad, I'm like, and again, this could be commentary on the police, but I'm like, nobody followed up like on medical records that if the dad had actually had a stroke, like, and they didn't question like, where is the mom? Like, why couldn't the mom come? So like that whole part to me was also really like, you guys really didn't suspect that like Alex, like something involving Alex could have been at hand. Like, why was he the only survivor from all of this, or like the only one not taken? So for me, it was just like a very upsetting that the woman was taking all the blame. As per usual, the cops didn't believe the woman. They thought she was to blame because she had like issues in her history too. So I don't know, like when is society going to learn that women are the good ones? Sorry. I know that's a very blanketed statement, but it's just like, it just feels like nobody ever believes women.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as being a thing too. Nobody listened, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think there's a plot hole too, because would you not be suspicious that the home was boarded up with newspapers? Like,
yes.
Something suspicious is happening in this home. You're not going to go check.
And also, did the cops really not check the basement? Like, they just kind of went like, oh, okay, everything seems normal because it's clean.
Yeah, well, they did show a scene where she kind of made the students leave. I don't know where she sent them to, but she did make them leave the basement.
You're right.
But
I do remember that.
That was like their only check. Like you only go once to the house. I don't know.
And again, nobody saw where these kids went when they left the house.
In the daytime? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. It's weird. Oy. All right. I think we should get into our final wrap up. So my last thoughts on this movie is that we just need a Gladys prequel. I think she is probably the standout character of this movie, and I just want to know more about her. Where did she come from? Is she really Alex's aunt? Is she in a coven? Are there other girlies that are like her? How does she get into this magic? Is this like the only magic she does? So I just want to see who is she before this movie, and I think that would be a really interesting prequel.
That's fair. I don't have anything else to add other than I want to be clear that like my attitude towards this film isn't so much towards the quality of the film, it's over the audience reception to it, I think. Because if people had been like, oh my God, it was so fun, that's different from saying this was the best movie of the year or this was a 10 out of 10. So I think a lot of my frustrations are stemming from like how much hate Woman in the Yard got, because this is really reminiscent for me as far as like, oh, now I'm on the other end being the hater of the film, right? But it's like, I want to be clear that like objectively, I have stated my reasons why I don't think this film was the best film of the year, but also my attitude is more towards the reception of it, not the actual quality of it. And I'll end with that.
No, that's fair. Fair assessment.
All right, Ghosters, it's time for It's Freaking Bats. So, Rabbit, on the scale of 1 to 5, how many bats would you rate this film?
I am still coming up with my rating, but I think I'm going to land at a 3.5. I think it was fun. I had some really scary moments. I did enjoy the direction of the movie, how it had different chapters. Did I enjoy all the chapters? No, but I did really like that direction that they went in. I would see it again because maybe I missed some things I didn't realize in the beginning, and it would be cool to go back and see the movie knowing what happens at the end. So maybe I'll be able to pick up on certain things here and there. So I think I'm going to land at a 3.5. What about you?
This is tough. Because I feel like that whole audience reception is like agitating more. Like, how would I have felt if no one had hyped it up? Would I have been like, oh, it was all right, you know? I think I'm gonna give Weapons 2.5 bats. The more I talk about it, the more I realize that there were a lot of plot holes. There were a lot of things going for it. The actors were great. The creepy scenes really did their job. You had a really gratifying ending, but I feel like I can't overlook a lot of the plot holes and the unnecessary things that didn't make sense with it, alongside the title not being the best title for it.
That's fair.
And I also don't think I would watch it again.
Really?
I don't know, like, it would have to be a very long time, because it did feel really long and slow for a while. And in general, like, because it didn't give me the vibes I wanted, I just don't, like, have the interest in watching it again. I'd probably, like scroll through the parts with Gladys, because I do want to see the makeup. Like, I want to see it and pause it on those scenes that I was questioning.
Yeah, that's fair. And even if I did rewatch the movie, I would want to fast forward some parts, because I don't need to see the cop's story. It added nothing to the movie, really, if I'm being honest. Like, his story really added nothing. He was just needed to be at the end to create a different monster. But yeah, I would rewatch it, but I would fast forward or skip some scenes.
Exactly. So you didn't enjoy it enough to rewatch the whole movie again.
True. True.
Okay, and before we part ways for the week, let's have a little moment of Be Kind Rewind. We're all about the vibes here, so if this film hit just right, here are a few spooky picks you can rewind to match the mood, the madness, or the mayhem. What's your pick, Rabbit?
So I feel like a lot of people are comparing this movie to Longlegs, and I also got the same vibes when I was watching the movie. It really gave me the same demonic conjuring spells kind of vibes. Then it gives you that same crazy ending that you were not expecting. And I really feel like Longlegs and Gladys could be from the same universe, where they could be like practicing the same brujeria. I feel like it's very similar to me, it feels. So it either feels like they could be friends, or they could be siblings, or maybe even a couple. So that's going to be my pick, is Longlegs.
That was going to be mine, so I'm going to pivot.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was wrong. So wrong about the actor in this. I'm going to recommend Monster Summer. That's the movie I was talking about from last year. If for some reason, I'm hoping that some of you may have loved this because it was a witch, and we don't get witch movies very often. And if you want a traditional, hell yeah, Halloween witch style movie, then try Monster Summer. Completely opposite direction. It is a kids Halloween movie. But for me, when I see a witch, I want to see the kind of witch in Monster Summer. I'm a Halloween girly.
I need to look up that witch, because I have no idea who she is.
Let me see if there's a picture of her super quick before we sign off with you guys, because I can't get past it. There's no good pictures of her, so you guys just have to watch the movie.
No, yeah, I only see like postcard stuff.
Yeah, there's not many. It's a fun little Halloween movie. If you guys want to like say goodbye to Summerween, get into the spooky season mode, I think it's like a perfect transitional time vibes in the film as well. So that's what I'm going to end it with for my Halloween girlies.
Sounds good.
All right, Ghosters, we hope you had a bloody good time hanging out with us today. I'm sorry I was so sassy. I will try to contain myself the next time I dislike a film, or an audience reception, I should say. We are for sure watching The Substance this weekend, so we'll see you here next Monday with our freshly popped horror review.
And remember, keep horror alive and watch something spooky this weekend.
Until next time, sending you ghouls and kisses. Bye.
Bye.
Ha 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 ha.